Thank you, Derek. Next, I'll be asking Spencer to come and speak, if he would. Thanks.
How's it going? Hello. How's it going, everyone? My name is Spencer Clark. I'm an Indigenous male. I'm 25 years old. I was born in Newfoundland, Canada. I grew up and I was never ever even told that I was Indigenous. I found out at the age of about 16, and at that point I really wasn't encouraged to embrace it. It was more to oppress it and stuff it down and don't let anybody know about that sort of thing. You know, avoid the racism, avoid the oppression, you know, don't embrace who you are. Then going through with my band, there was a sort of elimination process. There was in total around 100,000 individuals who had Native status, and there was only supposed to be, according to them, around 20,000. This is just the government and their numbers, right? I've had people in my family who are blood relation to me lose their status, get told that they're not Indigenous, you know? My band doesn't even have a reserve. I don't even have land, you know? I don't have like a place to go to participate in band activities. We're using Crown land for that, you know? It's a very silly situation, and that's just on a small island on the coast of Newfoundland. It's actually wild, but I was able to keep it, and through that I was able to embrace more. You know, I was actually able to be recognized as Indigenous. You know, I moved to Fort McMurray through other oppression and through oppression from being Native and many other family like illnesses, you know, deeper underlying mental health issues, etc. I fell into heavy drug addiction, opioids in particular. That went on for about 6 years. I moved to Calgary, changed my life. Calgary's been very, very good to me. When I moved down here, I initially went to Simon House, but during those 6 years of being in drug addiction, for example, I didn't want to go stay at any of the shelters there because I did not trust anyone, you know. I didn't want to even lay my head next to someone that I didn't know because I didn't trust that they were going to help. Like, I didn't know what they were going to do, let alone the staff that worked there, because I didn't think that if anything happened, they would care or do anything about it. So I slept in apartments, I slept outside in tents, I slept just straight up in the woods, you know. I did what I could because it wasn't worth me going to an actual building and staying there because the risks were too high to me, you know, because I'm just a young male alone. It's not really the safest idea. It'd be even worse if I was like a woman and I was going to like a shelter that was, you know, unisex and have to worry about even other issues and getting like exploited in that sense. And besides that, there was only one shelter there. I only had one option, you know, and there's only one like soup kitchen, like Center of Hope, and that's just the beginning of getting actual physical resources, you know, worrying about that food, drink, you know, roof over your head, protected from the elements, etc. Not worrying about clothing, what you're eating, your brain, you know, what's actually going on in your head that put you into that position in the first place. So after coming here and going to Simon House and getting clean and going to treatment, etc., I had to deal with a lot of mental health issues because, you know, it's all in my head mainly, the addiction, etc., and the issues and trauma that brought me there in the first place. But from doing that, I had to deal with getting the drugs out of my brain, letting that heal a little bit, because I don't know if anybody of you guys are familiar. If you're not, in the DSM-5, where they diagnose mental health issues, addiction and mental health fall right in the same categories as depression, anxiety, etc. So misdiagnosis is a huge factor. So I wanted to wait a little bit. Once time was up, I reached out every which way that I could. I was pointed toward Access Mental Health in Calgary. When I called them, I was told that I needed a referral first. So then I go and I get a family doctor, get a referral. I fax that off to them. I call them 4 times. They eventually put it bluntly, don't call back, we will call you. I don't hear from them till 2 years, to the point where I end up in the hospital myself, refusing to leave till I see a psychologist. It shouldn't have to get to that point, and I'm one of the lucky ones. And for example, I'm 25, like I said, Indigenous male. Indigenous males from the ages of 18 to 45 are most commonly afflicted by the opioid crisis currently. I'll give you a quick example for reference. So currently, as of today, there are 9,113 opioid COVID-19 deaths in Canada since this virus has started. Since then, in comparison, if we look at 2016, when the fentanyl really first started to get flooded into this country, we have, since January of 2016 to December 2019, we have 15,393 opioid-related deaths. We have, in the same period of time, 19,377 opioid-related hospitalizations in Canada, and that's excluding Quebec. And at the same time as well, but not in the same reference of time, this is based on just the year of 2019 alone. There's been more than 21,000 suspected opioid overdoses in Canada alone. You don't hear about these issues. These are not issues that are presented blatantly. We all are wearing masks here because we're afraid of catching COVID. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, people are dying. Our brothers and sisters, people who I fall into that demographic. I was there, during those 6 years. I was an 18 to 45-year-old Indigenous male who was homeless, on the street, drug addicted, with no one to talk to, no resources that I could go to, and even if I found them, no one would really want to listen and hear me out in the first place. It's really heartbreaking that I have to go and fight for that. But meanwhile, there's people 1,000 kilometers away in Saskatchewan who don't even have water or sewage on their reservation, and they have no way to even get here to speak on a microphone. They can't even get out of there. But no one cares. This might be the first time that you're even hearing about that. And that's the issue. First is getting the knowledge out there. Because before people even realize that this is an issue and how big of an issue it is, we cannot make any change. So first, we need to get the information out there. Next, we need to stop oppressing people. Indigenous males and females, but specifically Indigenous males, make up our main prison population. We're paying to keep these people in a box doing nothing. Do you know how much money that costs us? When we can take those people, put them into some city housing, because the city has lots of housing, right? And, I'm not going to lie, everything in this world is about money. It's all about capital. But they're not going to lose money. Their investment is investing into these people. because they take the initial investment of getting these people out of prisons, off the street, into these houses, getting them back into functional society, dealing with the things that are actually in their head, and so that they can go and work, pay their rent, etc. But the thing is that if they miss it, we need to be there to help them, not oppress them. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm so far from perfect, and if you are perfect, I would like you to come here and stand up and show me how you are. Because everyone has flaws, everyone makes mistakes, and it doesn't mean that you cannot change from here. And the thing is, dealing with these main issues, and the thing is, we're dealing about indigenous issues here, but we are only a small flake off this iceberg in the tip of issues, and it all stems from the fact that the government truly does not care about us. If one of us were the 1% and we had the money, more money than us or any of our family members could reasonably spend in any of our lifetimes, even being frivolous, we could solve so many issues in Canada and then be able to take it out into the world. But we need to solve our own issues home first before we try and help anywhere. Because sure, there's lots of people dying in Africa from starvation and not being able to get water, etc. But I go out and hand out water like for the past 2 nights, and there's people who really need it just road. That's the thing, is it's happening in our own backyard, and people walk past it because they're too ignorant to see it, nor do they want to see it, because it's ugly, it's disgusting, and people don't want, quote unquote, that dirt in their town. But that dirt could be your son or daughter. That's the part that people aren't realizing in all of this. I'm status Indian, but I'm not even the one who needs those benefits. Those benefits are supposed to, make up for years and years and years of oppression in residential schools, etc. But I'm not the one who needs those benefits. Like I said, there's people without water, and there's people pooping in a hole. There's people out there who are, imagine if they caught COVID, but they're too isolated to get it because no one's going out to visit them in the first place. But imagine if they did. No one's going to bring them to the hospital. They have no way to get there. They don't have gas. Who's going to bring it to them? The first thing that they're worried about is probably trying to get some liquor to drown out the fact that they're in this issue. Because if you were, you wouldn't want to be, and you'd try and numb yourself any way possible. I can guarantee it. It's like putting yourself in solitary confinement, except you're in the real world. Except you don't have anyone bringing you a food tray. You don't have a roof over your head. You don't even have a floor or cot to sleep on. You have no one checking on you. You're left to die, and no one cares about you. And this is how it's been since before Canada was formed. And being a 25-year-old male, I came from one side of Canada to the other. I've seen people from immense poverty, to people who even came from that immense poverty, make tons of money in the oil sands and forget where they came from and be assisting to the problem when they have the money and the ability to solve it, when they were in the exact same situation not even 20 years ago, but they refuse to acknowledge that. And they're too ignorant because they're not there anymore. It's not them. I really hope that if you listen to this and you take some time to really think about these issues, and you walk out into the world and you start to see these things happening, that you don't just turn a blind eye and turn your head and walk away. Instead, if you can't do even anything physical, I implore you to just go up to that person and ask them what they would need. If you don't know, go ask them yourself. They're not going to bite. They're not going to hurt you. I was there. I was one of those people just looking for a way out, and I just hope that someone would tell me, because this entire time, and like the addiction wants to tell you, and all of these mental illnesses want to tell you in your head, that you're worthless and that you want to die. But that is not the truth. The truth is that you just do not want to live this way anymore. You do not want to be oppressed. You don't want to be put down. You want to be recognized. You want to be heard, and you want to be respected. Because that's what we deserve. We're humans, you know? I'm no different than any other of you, you know? Besides where I come from and the blood inside me. We all breathe the same air, we all eat the same food, and we're all going to end up in the same place in 100 years. We're all going to turn back to dirt, dust, and ash and be together as one again, back into the ground. You know, in the end, all the fighting and wars and everything do not matter. What matters is me and you and our children of tomorrow. That's it. That's all we have. That's all our purpose is here, is to make sure that we go on and what we leave behind is positive and good. That's what we represent. You know, if you intrinsically do something bad, you feel it inside. You know, I bet a sociopath, even deep down, feels that inside, but they ignore it. You know, it's so faint that they can ignore it, but I bet it's still there, because that's intrinsic in human beings. That's what we were made to do. I hope that, again, anybody listening to this, please, if you do not understand what you can do to help, go out, buy some waters, go give it to some of these people, and ask them yourself. My name is Spencer Clark, and I love all you guys. Please have a great, safe afternoon, and take care. Indigenous lives matter.